Welcome to the Final Score Network and the Final Score Podcast, presented by Team Anders Realtors. I'm Andy. He's former NCAA student athlete and co-host.
Ryan, Cam, two-hand monster flush off the inbound. Ryan, Cam, slam, jam. Oh boy.
Find the TFS pod and our playlists wherever you stream your podcast or music. Follow us on X at TheFinalScore35. Oh, and one more note before we get started.
I'd like to apologize to anyone I've not offended yet. Please be patient. I'll get to you shortly.
Welcome into the TFS Pod 206. We're here in 2025. Happy New Year to you all. Hope you had a Merry Christmas and a great New Year's. We are back, rested better than ever. Short week of work. That's great stuff. Bowl season. We're down to 4 in the CFP. There's only like 4 bowl games left. Hallelujah. College basketball, we got conference play fully going starting tonight in the Big Ten. Michigan State hockey's on the TV right now, playing well, number 1 in the country. NFL 1 week left. Lions, Vikings for it all. We'll discuss that later. It's a great time to be alive, and here we are. Let's go to the podium. And I want to say good on Jim Mora for calling a spade a spade. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Jim Mora, he coached UCLA. He coached in the NFL a bit. Now he's UConn's coach for football. And they played in the bowl game, I think it was Saturday, right? Fenway Bowl? It was Saturday. Yeah. They smoked North Carolina, played really well. And he turns around the day after and he puts out a tweet calling coaches out and tagging the NCAA and say, you better watch for this tampering stuff and don't even think about it because I will report it and I know who you are. There's coaches, we know this goes on, but I'm glad someone with an actual voice. I mean, UConn obviously not a huge brand in college football. We obviously know that, but this guy has been around the block as a coach. He's a respected coach in the profession. He's saying that. Mm-hmm. Wake up and smell the coffee, NCAA, or just get out and let's make the college football division like we should already have. But I'm glad he did it and he called people out and he tagged the NCAA because people need to know that this stuff's going on, and these schools that are small, they won't survive much longer if this continues. It's their feeder systems. They're like a farm system for high college football. It's ridiculous. And the rich get richer. We know it. We'll talk about bowls a little later. I'm looking forward to actually talking about it because there's some funny, weird stuff that happened in some of these games. So just I thought that was good on Jim. So kudos to you, buddy boy.
Yep, a lot has gone on since the last time we talked. We delayed a little bit this week, which is fine because actually we have the whole quarterfinal of CFP in play. My podium, I actually took this, I believe I actually copied this word for word off of a Spartan, Mitch Lyons, LinkedIn. He often posts things about leadership and things like that. And so I'll give credit where it's due. It's not necessarily my words, although definitely my thoughts. Everyone is an expert. I think you're going to know where I'm going with this pretty quickly. The guy has been second guessed a lot. Goes for it on 4th down. Not taking field goals. Playing stars in a, quote, meaningless game. The guy is true to himself. His players and coaches love him. He loves them. He's changed the culture of one of the most dysfunctional organizations and charged the hopes of a long-suffering fan base. I love Dan Campbell. I agree with that. Listen. You listen to the talking heads. We're talking heads, arguably. They have to pontificate about something, and everybody wants to second guess everything that Dan Campbell does. But here's the thing. Shut up. Because it works and it's his style and he's true to it. He doesn't cower down in a big game. He doesn't cower down when, quote, it doesn't count. It didn't matter for the Lions against the 49ers ultimately, but it did in this way. It meant for principle it mattered. It meant for last year for what the heartbreak of the NFC Championship game. It meant something for keeping guys singing and humming along, Injuries be damned. They happen in football. 100% guaranteed guys are going to get hurt in football. Some teams get more hurt. Some injuries are more fluky than others. The Lions have withstood that. And had he done it any other way than to go balls to the wall against San Francisco, I'd have been mad as a fan. It's the same reason why I defended him last year when people were mad that he didn't take field goals and went for it on fourth down when we could have arguably had points in situations. That's not who he is. You can't love the guy when it works and hate the guy when it doesn't work. You're either all in or you're all out. That's how it goes. And I thought, Mitch, you did a really good job of talking about that in your LinkedIn post, talking about leadership. Because you're exactly right. People want to bust on him all the time. They don't want to give him credit for being a good football coach. But here's the thing is, if you really look at the analytics, which ESPN and everybody else likes to put up there these days, he really makes the right decision most of the time, analytics-wise. And here's the thing. You got a kicker who you can count on from beyond 50 yards. You know what? You don't always have to go for it. So, I wanted to give a podium, give credit to Dan Campbell. I'm tired of the naysayers. I'm tired of the talking heads who second guess, third guess, fourth guess, fifth guess, everything that he does. Here's the thing. The Lions have set franchise records up and down. They've got, the first combo of 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard rusher ever, or 1,000-yard pass catcher.
It's crazy, the record.
I mean, the amount of points and all those things through 16 games, let alone the 17th game, which we'll get to here in a second, the flag. But just a shout out to Dan Campbell for being true to who he is. It's what I appreciate, of him, and has actually gotten me to like the Lions again. I used to always joke that I would just take a nap. I still argue you can't be as equal a Michigan State and a Michigan State and Lions fan at the same time. But Dan Campbell sure as heck makes it fun to want to be one. That is 100% for sure.
Yeah, he's the man. And I forgot to mention this in my podium. Thoughts and prayers with people of New Orleans, the ones that passed away. Heinous act. Got to get our stuff together.
There's something going on in this country right now because it was tied to the Vegas thing. There was just a small plane crashed into a warehouse in Los Angeles. I would not want to be in a big city. January 20th cannot come fast enough. Let's just put it that way. We start to take care of these things. All right, moving on to the flag for the week. Quasi tee up because we're full bore into basketball season now too. This isn't necessarily as negative as it would be against our typical, guys like LeBron and Dion and whatever, but I just want to flag all these people who drool and jockstrap hold for the quote-unquote records being broken, not only in college, but also actually the NFL. So there's a lot of hubbub about Saquon Barkley sitting this game out. The Eagles are going to sit him. He's got a chance to break Eric Dickerson's record. Here's the thing, son. No, you don't, because Dickerson did it in 16 games with no buys back then. You're doing it in 17 games. It's not the same. It is not the same that Genty, amazing running back, by the way. Nothing held against him there, but it is not. In my mind, there's no way anybody's ever going to beat Barry Sanders' record because Barry did it in 12 games without the bowl game counting. Back in the day in the 80s or early 90s or whenever that was. I think it was like 89, 90-ish. I'm just so tired of guys who have, and this isn't the case with Genty with, having 5, 6, 7 years of play, but these fifth-year starting quarterbacks, guys like Gabriel for Oregon, who, has started like almost 70 games. Well, no shit, you played for 6 years. Like, what kind of record is that? If you really want to call these records, then what we need to do is we need to close the original record book at its time. Like Barry's bowl game didn't even count, and he went for like 220 in that bowl game, the Holiday Bowl. What you need to do is you need to start a whole new record book, or you need to put asterisks next to everything, or you need to start a new category after X amount of time. Like, I get it if it was done in 13 games versus 12 games. Okay, that's one thing. Genty would have done it in 15 games with the help of a conference championship, with the help of a bowl game. And again, it wouldn't have even come close to Barry Sanders if Barry's bowl record would have counted. So both NFL and NCAA, I don't want to hear about your record breaking. Saquon Barkley is not going to break Eric Dickerson's record even if he gets a shot, because Eric Dickerson did it in 16 games. Genty wasn't going to break Barry Sanders' record because Genty would have done it in 3 more games. Any good running back that's that good, that was leading the NCAA, should be able to get 300 yards in 3 games. I mean, enough of this. It's ridiculous. Apples to apples from now on. I'm tired of the nonsense. again, it's for fodder for people to talk about and, oh, look at this and blah, blah, blah. No, let's just compare him to his current day peers and let Barry stand alone, for example, or let Eric Dickerson stand alone. Because if Saquon did it in 16 games, okay, then we're talking. Then that's fine, but not with an extra
Like
game.
Adrian Peterson almost did whatever. That was probably 13 years ago at this point. But yeah. All right, let's get to spot one of Around the World.
Spot one is presented by Norris Sports Group. NSG is a boutique agency of experts with 30-plus years of experience in sports sponsorship and much more. Learn more about them today at norrissportsgroup.com.
All right, bowl recap. We will talk about some games here, and then we'll do the CFP last. Since we last spoke, we had the Guaranteed Rates Bowl. Rutgers blew a huge lead. Shocking. Kansas State comes back, wins. Not a good look for the Big Ten there. Toledo beats Pitt in 6 overtimes. That was fun. 48-46. Glad that wasn't Michigan State losing in 6 overtimes at Toledo.
No kidding.
Arkansas State beat Bowling Green. Syracuse put up huge numbers against Washington State. 52-35. McCord, 453, 5 touchdowns. He had a really good season in a very quarterback-friendly offense, but still. Then Navy, big win, gets to 10-3. They beat Oklahoma. 21-10 in the Armed Forces Bowl. That was cool. Oklahoma went for 2 because they knew they couldn't stop the midshipmen. Vanderbilt 7-6. Really good season for them. They beat Georgia Tech. Arkansas won the Liberty Bowl. USC won the Las Vegas Bowl. Good win for them. They got to 7-6. Lincoln Riley, I think he goes in the next year on a pretty hot seat, to be honest with you.
I would agree with that.
If he doesn't get to close to 10 wins, he might be out, especially with the money he's making.
Is that no better than Clay Helton did?
How about this one? Iowa State, Miami. Cam Ward played 1 half so he could break a record, and then he sat. If you're going to play the whole game. If you're going to sit the whole game. I don't really understand that. That's the world we live in. That's college football now.
Selfish.
But Iowa State got the win. Lots of points in that game. Holy, I didn't think it'd be like that. Crazy. BYU, also a shocker. We thought Colorado, we both picked them. BYU slaughtered them.
Yeah, especially because Colorado actually did the right thing and played all their guys.
Yeah, not big Dion fans, but that was good on him for having them all play. Army got to 12 wins. That's pretty special. I already touched on UConn. Nebraska got over 6 wins. That's good for them. Tried to choke it away, but they didn't. TCU kind of called that one. Miami, East Carolina, there's a brawl in that game. I didn't see it.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. The ref was collateral damage. He got a face mask to the face and got gashed in 3 spots. It was a pretty gross way to end a game.
Good for East Carolina though, 8-5. Then they fired their coach early in the season, named the interim the head coach. So good for him. Iowa, they scored 24 points in a game. How about that? That's something. That's rare, but they still lost.
They blew it late
because of bad quarterback play. Michigan State scores. We go up 4-3 as we speak. Down 3-1, 3 unanswered. Nice. We'll do CFP last. I said that. This is the one that's funny to me. The team that we hate, the Michigan Wolverines, actually, I'm going to give them kudos because they could have lost this game, gotten blown out. They beat Alabama. That's actually hilarious that they beat Alabama. Alabama, what a joke. They were terrible. Yeah. Jalen Milroe.
And he just declared for the draft.
Declares for the draft. Dude's terrible. He might as well be Stevie Wonder back there throwing passes. Dude's terrible. And Michigan won with defense. They didn't do anything offensively. They were gifted field position. They did what they had to do to win. And a bad season for Michigan turns out to be 8 wins. That's kind of crazy. Illinois, South Carolina, Illinois. Big Ten. Bully ball to the SEC once again.
Mm-hmm.
And the fight, was it Bielema that was taunting Beamer? Or was it vice versa?
I never saw it. I think it was a Illinois player that taunted it or did something about an injury. And then I think Bielema said something to Beamer and Beamer wasn't having it. And, wah. South Carolina, Alabama bitching about not making the playoffs. And, they lose to the Big Ten. And I'm sorry, Alabama, you lost to probably one of the worst, opportunistic, but worst Michigan teams since Hoke.
Yeah, not a good team. But here's the thing: they also
since
lost
COVID
to
year,
freaking Vanderbilt, and they got punked by Oklahoma, who won 6 games. Like
right.
they had that was a bad season. Kalen DeBoer better watch it because him and that trailer trash.
And it's not like they had guys opt out either.
No,
so you don't have that excuse.
No. Louisville beats Washington. That was a fun ending in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. LSU puts up big numbers. I think next year they could be good. I think next year is kind of a make or break for Kelly as well. They need to make the playoff, or else he's probably toast. Let's go playoff. New Year's Eve. I mean, Penn State 31 to 14. They dominated the game. I mean, Boise kept it close per se by the score for a little bit. Penn State dominated.
It's just, as we said, too, luck of the draw, right? Like Penn State, let's be honest, Oregon should have been playing Boise.
Probably.
Not Penn State.
Yeah, probably.
Like, Oregon got the absolute shaft having to play Ohio State. I said that last week on the pod, and it was visible. I'm not talking about that game yet, but it was definitely clear.
If they're going to keep this
yesterday.
12-team thing, they need to clean up the seeding. Like, I get having a group of 5 team in, but they
all five
automatically
conference champions
should
lost.
be a 12. Yeah, every team that
all
had
4
lost.
higher seeds, 1, 2, 3, 4, are all gone.
Good system you got there.
Yeah, right. This is why you go to 16 teams and there's no buys.
Or 8.
Or go to 14 and you only have 2 buys.
There shouldn't be buys in general.
I agree. I don't think it helps to play a conference championship, clearly. It doesn't help to have a bye. Like, it just doesn't help for curing up injuries. It doesn't help for lots of different reasons.
Yeah, conference championships don't matter anymore. They're an issue. They need to be solved. But Penn State, good on them. I guess they, like we always said about Indiana, they beat what the schedule gave them.
Yep, exactly.
And
by the way, all the Bama fans that were bitching that Indiana played too easy of a schedule, you lost to the best team that Indiana beat.
Yep. So screw you. The only good game so far in the college football playoff was Texas versus Arizona State. It wasn't really good until later in the second half. Arizona State couldn't get much going. Texas couldn't really either. They blew their load early.
Well, with just 2 big plays. I mean, take those 2 big plays, the punt return and another big play away.
Yeah, and Arizona State, good on them for fighting back. Scadaboo, that guy's effed in the head, but he is good at football, man. Holy cow!
Touchdown pass, huge catch, throwing up his guts on the sideline, runs like a
flu game,
unbelievable. Like, here's the thing too: is if there's legitimacy to what Chrisapalooza sent, that because if you don't know, Arizona State had a field goal blocked early in the game that actually bounced and went over the uprights.
I noticed that.
And apparently there's a rule that says that that's allowed to happen.
But maybe it wasn't because it was tipped.
I don't know. I mean, you can do a drop kick, which is the same idea because you're bouncing it on the ground and you're hitting it. Doug Flutie did that once. I'd need clarity, but apparently they're gonna appeal it because they would have won it outright. This is not talking about put them in overtime. They would have won it outright. Let alone, let's just tell me that it's not rigged for Texas or for a blue blood to make it into the big games. That was textbook targeting that they did not call. And Texas fans are saying, well, yeah, but they didn't call one against us. That was textbook and it's even, blah, 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 blah. That changed the game. And the reason I believe I said it then that they didn't call it was because they didn't want that to decide the game. And they wanted to let chance play out. And it just happened to be, per chance, Texas's Ogilvy home perm 45 weirdo number wearing kicker
was a choke.
Hooks one to miss it to give Arizona State a chance. Now, credit to Texas for winning in double overtime. 2 great touchdowns in a row. They're back against the wall on 4th and 15. They score a touchdown. And then the next play, they score a touchdown enough to win it, get the 2-point conversion, enough to win it. But leave it to Big Ten refs to mess that up. That was an egregious...
That officiating crew was terrible.
Egregious blown call. And if that's not targeting, then get rid of targeting altogether because I don't know what is.
No.
Defenseless receiver, helmet to helmet. What else do you want? So I kind of hope... I have nothing against Texas. I have no dislike for Texas.
Jerseys were sweet.
But I kind of hope that Arizona State that rule is legit and Arizona State wins the appeal because I think that'd be interesting. Now, that said, I think we got, honestly, in my opinion, minus Oregon. I do think Oregon is, I think you got the best 4. I mean, the winner of Oregon Ohio State in my book was going to win the national championship anyway. I still believe that. I just think it's too bad that Oregon had to play them so quickly. It'd be one thing to play them in the semis and lose or whatever, but to play them in the quarters. And Ohio State was firing on all cylinders after that Tennessee game. I mean, they came out and it was just like boom, 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 strike. I mean, they looked like they should have played against Michigan. We all said that. My buddies on text, Ryan and I. But here's the thing. I think that loss to Michigan kind of woke them up and allowed them to circle the wagons a little bit and focus on the big prize. Now, Rachel's beau, Mike, would tell you, yeah, but they still lost to Michigan. True. But I would also tell you as a Michigan State fan, I would be okay losing to Michigan if I won a national championship. I just would. Yeah. Now, would I want that every year? Well, yeah, sure, because it would mean I won a national championship every year. So why not? But, Ohio State looked like the great team. They're the most talented, paid-for team. I mean, they have $20 million on NIL, and you can see why. They're absolutely loaded. And
I mean, Jeremiah Smith is the best player in college
football. They've got two great running backs. They've got a quarterback that's experienced, and so he can deliver the dimes to these great receivers. I mean, Ibuka was 2 years ago was an amazing. Deflected off his own guy just because they've got a minute to go to hold on to this lead, so we're kind of like half watching that. But Ibuka was an awesome player in his own right, and everybody sleeps on him now because of how good Smith is. But Ohio State's defense has kind of risen up. I saw a great stat during the Rose Bowl.
Finally getting pressure.
Like, they've got so many 4th and 5th year guys that have played at Ohio State. Not transfers, but 4th and 5th year program guys on that defense. They only have 2 guys that have less than 2 years of experience with Ohio State on their starting defense, which is nuts. So credit to Ohio State. I mean, they looked at the part of a national champion for sure, and we'll see when they play Texas.
But that's the Ohio State we've expected all year long, really. And it finally they finally have caught fire. Then the last one, Notre Dame, the Golden Domers beat Georgia. But with 220 yards of offense.
Yeah, had the kickoff return to start the second half. They got off the pick, or off the strip sack, which was brilliant at the end of the first half.
Their defense is legit.
They get 10 points in like the last 30 seconds of the first half, and then they get, in the first 15 seconds of the second half, they return a touchdown. Like, Notre Dame's defense is really good, and they've got enough really good players and horses to carry them. Like, Riley Leonard is a gamer. He's kind of like a Tim Tebow, but I think he's a little bit better passer probably. Notre Dame Penn State is a throwback game. Like Chris said, those are 2 former longtime independents that used to play all the time.
And so
that's great. Like Riley Leonard, obviously, mom was friends with Riley Leonard's mom growing up, or they went to high school together. So it's fun to see him do well. And look, I know a lot of Michigan State fans are trained, or Michigan fans too, trained to not like Notre Dame, but Michigan State fans should not dislike Notre Dame. Notre Dame got us in the Big Ten. And the fact of the matter is Marcus Freeman is an amazing coach. He is an amazing coach. Bumpy ice. He's an amazing coach. He's well spoken. His little thing towards the end of the game to run his whole punt unit off the field to confuse Georgia and then get to draw them offsides on a 4th down, that sealed the game. That sealed the game because then Notre Dame held it for like 5 minutes and it was lights out. Yep. So, the games haven't necessarily been, that game was, a decent game, even though it was a 13-point game. They haven't been particularly good, but I definitely like the 12-team playoff better than the 4-team. I still think it should be 16, no buys. Just get rid of all these nonsensical bowl games. Play more games at home. Give the teams a true home field advantage. Like, give Oregon a home field advantage in that case. Give Boise a home field advantage in that case. Things like that. I think that would be when it would be fair. So,
right.
All right. Updating the Michigan State game, 20 seconds to go. It's 6-on-4 because they pulled their goalie and they're on the power play. Although Michigan State just did an awesome job poking it away. Wisconsin, let's see, they got one last rush. Up into the crowd. We're giving you a little live play-by-play.
No, that's really it. College football-wise, it was fun. We got the last four best teams, I think, aside from Oregon, like you said. So, it's going to be great. We will recap more next week and do picks next week. And we move to our Spot 2 in Mailbag, presented by Chris Palooza, Mitch Palooza.
How are we doing in the bowl picks, anyway?
I'm 26-13. You're 23-16 with 1, 2, 3, with whatever 6 more to go, including the playoffs. So
I thought I got caught up on you a little bit,
you got
because I picked Ohio State.
Yep. I don't even know. We went back and forth. We had some same picks that were wrong, and I had a couple right that you had wrong. So, all right, let's mailbag it.
All right. So from Chris this week, a couple really good questions. Which Division I school has a picture of their field in their logo? You guys have 60 seconds to figure it out. You can message me for the answer while you're recording, or I'll let you know who is right after I listen to the pod.
Okay.
I got my guess. Partially because I saw something on this.
Stanford.
It was a while ago that I saw something on this.
On TikTok.
It was during an Oregon game. I believe the answer is Oregon because I know that the O is made up of a combination of their track stadium and their football stadium, I believe.
I don't really have a guess.
I'm pretty sure that's it. It's either that or their football stadium is shaped like their logo. One of the other two, but that's my guess, Chris. You'll have to tell us
Stanford.
after you listen. Ryan says Stanford. I say Oregon. All right. Now that the portal is closed and early signing is complete, evaluate the Spartans by position group. Which groups got better and which still need to be addressed in the February signing period or spring portal?
I think they need another quarterback.
We can still sign guys, can't we?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the dead period's over. You just can't enter anymore. You can.
Another quarterback. Speaking of which, we didn't talk about that in the playoffs. Did Michigan State end up? Did Jonathan Smith recruit the right quarterback to begin with out of high school?
Yeah,
Levitt was pretty dang special. I'll tell you that much.
He's legit.
But anyway, yeah, quarterback I think we need. I thought, from my perspective, look, it's hard to tell because mostly it's lower level guys coming up, but I think that's where you really win in the portal is you find those gems, those guys that were slept on in original recruiting. I think that receiver from Akron looks like an absolute stud.
Yeah, it's Kent State.
Or Kent State,
yeah.
Looks like an absolute stud. You know, got another receiver or two, like Middle Tennessee State or something like that. Got some defensive back help. Got some good linemen. I wanted the Northwestern guy. I think we probably got outbid by
LSU.
Yeah, somebody. Not a shock. I think, let's see, did we get anybody running back yet?
No, we got the guy from Sacramento State, so maybe he'll be like Scattaboo.
Yeah, that's right. That's where he's from. So
a cool name.
I mean, I think, and D-line, I think Michigan State got some help there. I think I still want to see
another
edge. I want to see another decent O-lineman. I want to see a quarterback just because, behind Childs, Michigan State's very inexperienced. And, if they got another, I think the running backs that we've got coming back are fine. The running backs that we've got coming in are fine. I think you still need a DB, OL, DL, and a quarterback. That's what I kind of want to see.
Yep, I would agree.
You got some other good guys that have been coming in for visits. There's the kid from Eastern Michigan who was a great linebacker.
Probably can play a little edge.
Probably can play. Yeah, so I think Michigan State has done well. I personally like the guys that they're going after because I think they're the right kind of guys to fit Michigan State's program. So
I would agree with that.
Now that players are receiving NIL money, should they be contractually made to be contractually have to play in a bowl game? If so, how would you go about it?
You would think so, but these guys,
there should be collective bargaining or something anyway. Like there should be salary caps or there's a ton of different rules that need to happen. If we're truly going to keep it this way, and it's not going to be really name, image, and likeness, it's just going to be pay for play. Because let's face it. Name, image, and likeness was born out of Ed O'Bannon suing because his likeness was used in NCAA basketball without his permission and without him getting any royalties. That's truly name, image, and likeness. Giving somebody $12 million to come play quarterback at your school has nothing to do with their name, image, and likeness because they haven't earned that yet. So that's first of all is you need to redefine pay for play versus name, image, and likeness. Name, image, and likeness is, like Ryan, you said, they're selling Augustine jerseys, Michigan State's world-class goalie at Munn. Like, you sell a jersey that says Augustine on the back, he should get a cut of that. I have zero qualms with that. I've never had any problems with that. If it's true name, image, and likeness, I have no problems with that. Just doling out cash and opening up your wallet to get recruits, that's what used to be illegal. So, Yes, that's where I think Deion Sanders did it right in that he required his guys, he demanded his guys play, and he said to them, if you're worried about it, I'll cover your insurance, Lloyd's of London or whatever, to insure your arms, legs, hands, feet, knees, whatever. If it messes up your pro career, you'll get your worth. So I think from that perspective, regardless of what you call it, yes, I think if you're going to take money, you owe it to your school to play in every game that you're healthy for. I think you owe it to your school to be there, or to have to pay some of it back. Like, you have to have a commitment.
Yep.
You sign a contract. I don't know the exact answer, but there's got to be something done. And here's the other big thing. I've said this, Chris, for as long as we've had this pod. Stop having so many stupid bowl games. Most of the bowl games have barely anybody there. Nobody cares. Keep your big games for the semis on in the big thing. Knock your number of bowl games in half to 20. Make it special to get to a bowl game again. And if it's special to get to a bowl game, some of these guys might just naturally want to play anyway, because you don't just get to go to a bowl game because you went 6-6.
Right. Exactly. Make it worth the while. All right. You have anything else from Chris?
Yeah, two more. Discuss incoming transfers and recruits being allowed to practice and travel to bowl games with their new team. Should these players be allowed to play in bowl games?
Should not be allowed.
I know what you're talking about, Chris, because you're talking about Michigan's new $12 million quarterback that practiced with the team.
Stupid.
That's
not. It's at the end of the semester.
He's not. Yeah, he's not a student. Yet. He hasn't started. He isn't enrolled. I'm not a fool. I was going to say he started taking classes. He's not enrolled to take classes at Michigan yet. So absolutely, he should not be able to. That's not the whole point. First of all, these high school kids should finish high school. They're going to look back one day and regret it. Even the ones that end up going pro. Maybe they won't, because they're going to make more money in 2 or 3 years of college football than I'm going to make in a lifetime. But I think that's horseshit. Like, if you are in the transfer portal, you don't get to play for your team. And there's examples. Ohio State's backup quarterback is still with the team, even though now he's with Missouri. So
Orgy did that.
Yeah, or if you've committed to another school, it's one thing. The kid from Ohio State put himself in the portal. The team voted and said he's allowed to stay. Now, I think as soon as he commits somewhere else, boom, you're gone. You're no longer part of our program. But incoming transfers, no way. They shouldn't be able to, because the semester's okay. Technically, the semester's over, but the next semester hasn't begun. So no way, and no way with the high school students. And I don't think there should be any of this early enrollment for high school students either, because all they're doing is taking overinflated, quote, AP classes to get the grades to be able to get in. You're going to tell me that Underwood kid has good enough grades to get into Michigan as a normal student? No way in hell he does. No. So I think that's just ridiculous. And it adds to the fact that, let's be honest, it's the minor leagues. And it only happens in football. It doesn't happen in the other sports.
Right.
And then last question from Chris is a good one. Does a hole-in-one on a simulator count? Explain your reasoning.
No.
I would agree. I mean, I think I don't have any idea that, because look, a hole-in-one,
it's a computer. It
takes luck. And I'm not saying it doesn't take luck to get a hole-in-one on a sim, but how do I know that it didn't read my spin just a little bit wrong? How do I know that, a bird didn't flap its wing and,
there's no natural
there's no natural element to it.
Uh-huh.
I think it's cool if you get one, but I don't think you should be going and putting it on X and Instagram and Facebook and, buying everybody at the place. It doesn't count to me. It's got to be, it's no different than if you shank one. This happened to our cousin Brad. Shanked one is like, I'm tee up another one, and he made a hole in, as Uncle Tom would say, a hole in 3. That's not a hole in 1 either.
Right.
Off a mulligan? No way. A hole in 1 is off of a hole in 1, and it's on a real hole. Now, on a par 3 course, that's okay, because I think a par 3 course is still a legitimate course, unless it's like a 60-yard chip and putt type of thing. That's maybe a little different, but even that, you still have the outside elements. So
right,
that's my take on that one.
Yeah.
Good questions, Chris. Love the
questions.
mailbag. Good variety of the questions too.
Good questions.
Mitch, we'll be looking for questions from you next week.
I forgot to ask. I'm sorry, Mitch. Needed a week off. All right, spot 3. You can do the ad read really quick, then we can jump into.
Yeah, now a word from our presenting sponsor, Team Andrews Realty, will help you find the home that fits your wants and needs, and they make the process simple and fun along the way. The Andrews have served thousands of clients for 30-plus years in the West Michigan area and are here to serve you today. Learn more at teamandrews.com.
All right, not a ton's happened in Larinaga. Did that happen? That happened since we did
Yeah, he stepped down. He said he couldn't
That's
do it
crazy.
anymore. Yep.
Couldn't take the NIL anymore. I don't blame him. 75 years old. It's going to happen more and more often.
Yeah, the old guard is not going to last much
hardly
longer,
last
for sure.
Not much. Michigan State played one game. It wasn't great. Good defense, bad offense, bad turnovers, sloppy. You got to clean that up because if you don't, you're not going to win many Big Ten games. And they were playing really well.
Had been practicing well, according to Izzo.
The last two games they've not played very well.
I thought Akins played well in that game.
Yeah,
Kohler was visibly sick. Actually, Cooper ended up having a really good game. Carr's been playing really well. Made another three. He's 14 of his last 14 from the free throw line. So he's getting that part of his game right.
Said today, or whatever his last press conference, he said we need to get Jace 8 to 10 shots a game.
I completely agree. He's Michigan State's best player. He's our best shooter. They also got to get Fiddler to figure it out.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad.
He's good at the mid-range. He's good at the free throw line. He's shooting like 94% from the line, but his three-point shooting is atrocious. And he's honestly playing a little bit less and less. I mean, here's the thing, too, is right now he's playing against the type of teams he played against at Omaha.
Yeah.
It's real in the Big Ten. And going to Ohio State on Friday.
Yeah, rubber meets the road a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the Big Ten is going to be a grinder. We've talked about it since the beginning of the season. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are good, a lot of unknowns. We'll see what happens. Michigan is a team that surprised people. Will they end up being good? Yeah, I think so, but could they end up being bad? Yeah, you never know. You can go cold. Injuries happen. Luck goes against you. I mean, it's anyone's ball game. It helps that Michigan State, Michigan, UCLA all 2-0 to start. But it's going to be a grind for the next, 7-8 weeks, in the next 18 games for all these teams. We're doing Big Ten starting 5 again. We're going to do our picks.
I get my ass kicked in this every year,
so
I don't know why I agree. I don't know why I agree to this, but
well, do I get the first?
And you probably
pick?
Do your homework
Because were we
snaking?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can have the first pick.
All right. I'm doing Braden Smith.
Hard to argue.
Dude is a walking double-double with
averages 14.5 points a game.
Close to probably 10 assists.
Let's see here.
He had 30 and 10 the other day.
I can tell you because I got it up. Rebounds, assists.
He's
4.6 rebounds, 8.6 assists.
Yeah, legit. He's legit.
All right, well, I'm going to go with a freshman who's leading the Big Ten in scoring, Dylan Harper, who also averages 5.3 rebounds and 4 assists a game. So he's
triple-double.
A stat sheet stuffer. Let's see, who am I going to go with next? I think I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Trey Kaufman-Wren. I'm going to go with one of your Purdue teammates for Purdue as my second pick. He's sixth in the Big Ten in scoring, pretty good rebounder, decent passer too.
Yeah, he's been good. Interesting texture. All right, I get 2 picks. I'm going with your I'm gonna go Derek Queen from Maryland. Dude he's 275 pounds.
16.8 points.
Yeah, he's a rebounding machine.
Yeah.
Second guy, I'm going with Yakachonis from Illinois.
I was going to take him.
Is
Kasparas Yakachonis.
That dude can play.
Yeah, he's averaging 16.3. He can rebound and dime it out as well.
The damn Euros, man. They play that professional ball when they're 16 and they can go. Dude's a player though. Hopefully he'll work out. He's a good shooter and passer and rebounder. So
all right, for my next 2, I'm going to go with Bruce Thornton.
I think you had him last year
from Ohio State,
if I'm not mistaken.
And then I'm going to go with this dude he's kind of, because we're doing points, rebounds, assists, right? We don't, or do we do blocks too?
Everything. Wins, blocks, steals.
Wins too. Oh yeah, I forgot about wins. That matters. So that actually is going to change it up for me because instead of taking, I'm not going to tell you who I was going to take, but I'm going to go with, I don't know. Nobody up here that really is doing much of anything. I'll take a little bit of a chance because wins are not necessarily going to come from this guy, but I'm going to go with John Tanji.
Oh, Wisconsin's not bad.
Wisconsin.
Dude can score, though. So you get Thornton and Tanji. Those guys are both on my list. Pick Queen. Okay. I'm gonna go Ace Baldwin from Penn State. And my last pick. Do I dare go?
We got two guys named Ace in the top 15.
Do I dare go with the Bug Eye? Or do I
He's
go
up there, number 11?
Do I go with
scoring.
your favorite player of all time? Double B, Brooks Barnheiser. That's who I'm going with.
Nice. He's a good little stat sheet stuffer.
He's a good player.
All right, well, just to even it out, because this dude's been he's been a bucket getter, rebounder. I'm going to go with Martinelli. Yeah. He's number 2 in the Big Ten in scoring right now.
He averaged early in the season.
I would have taken Dawson Garcia because he's also a stat sheet stuffer, but Minnesota's not going to get.
As you say that,
they're not going to give me any wins except for they're beating Purdue tonight.
Yeah, how about that? Could have taken Wolf. That would have been a good pick too. I don't want to rely on Michigan though. So
exactly. Owen Freeman's up there.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, there's
Malik
a lot of
Renew, Devin Royal.
There's no like high level.
Ace Bailey.
Like,
Bryce
there's
Williams.
Not ED, there's no National Player of the Year.
Yeah,
there's some solid players in the Big Ten.
Great Ozabor, but Washington sucks.
Yeah, Ozabor's a good rebounder. And
Jaden Akins is only 25th in the Big Ten in scoring. But Michigan State's got a ton of balance. So, yeah.
All right, that's college basketball.
These are only in the top 50, by the way.
NFL Week 17, week 17, sorry. It was a deciding week for a few teams. And we'll talk about the lines last. But Chiefs won on Christmas against the Steelers. The Ravens smoked the Texans. The Ravens are in control of winning the AFC North. They just have to win, and they're good. Steelers are already in the playoffs, but I mean the Chiefs, they get by. We've talked about all year. They've gotten by, and they've gotten by, and they've gotten by, and they're going to be the 1 seed yet again.
Mm-hmm.
It runs through Arrowhead every freaking time. Ridiculous. Seahawks and Bears, what a fun game. 6-3. Gross. And the Seahawks are out of the playoffs.
It was like the White Sox and the Mariners.
Oh, horrible. Chargers, I think they're a dark horse in the AFC. Harbaugh, as much as I'm not a fan of him, he is a very good coach. He knows how to push the right buttons.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a squad that they have talent. They just needed good coaching. Bengals stayed alive. They beat the Broncos in a really good game. T. Higgins, huge game. Joe Burrow, 412 yards. He's had a really good season. His defense just sucks. The Rams punched their ticket. They beat the Cardinals. Bills smoked the Jets. Probably the end of Aaron Rodgers, possibly. Overall.
Rodgers. That's great.
Raiders beat the Saints with the number one pick on the line. Idiots. Giants, idiots. They did the same thing. Beat the Colts. They haven't scored 20 points all since October, the first weekend of October, and they scored 45 against the Colts. Hilarious. And the Colts, that coach, he might get fired. Steichen. They asked him about the culture. He's like, I don't know.
Oh boy.
And some players we have no identity. No one knows what's going on. So that's good. That's what you want to hear. Eagles with Kenny Small Hands Pickett smoked the Cowboys. They're the 2 seed. They're going to rest guys this week. Bucks secured a playoff spot. Well, didn't secure it, but they play the Saints this week. They're going to get in. And the Falcons probably screwed themselves. They came back, right? Were they down, or was Washington down? I can't remember. I think it was the Falcons.
The Falcons were down.
Yeah, and ended up losing that game. Dolphins technically still alive, but that's not going to happen. Huntley's going to be their quarterback. Packers blew it against the Vikings. The Vikings are having a good season. They won a ton of close games. Good on them. O'Connell's a good coach. Darnold, kind of a revival, but dude has the most turnover-worthy throws in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
easily. He gets away with bad passes because he's really good receivers. And the Packers kind of choked, but the officials choked because there were some very egregious calls against the Packers, like the offsides.
Exactly. Tell me it's not a setup. The Lions Vikings is the first time since 1994 that teams are playing the last weekend of the season for the number 1 seed. There's no way in hell they were going to let the Packers win that game. Packers were already in the playoffs. Really had no impact on where they probably are seed wise, because the Packers are having a nice season, so they're going to be, I believe, the 6th seed.
Yep.
So like they're pretty much locked in, so they had nothing to lose. But the NFL had everything to gain by the Lions playing the Vikings.
Yeah, ridiculous. But like as soon as that game was over, there was already promos out for the Lions Vikings because they it's all queued up. It's entertainment.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
It's like Texas, Ohio State instead of Arizona State, Ohio State.
I already talked about the Commanders. They beat the Falcons overtime. Jaden Daniels, heck of a season he's had. Lions go to San Fran. Was rough
and beat RG3's record in 16 games for a rookie rushing record.
He did, and that's good on him. Daniels is a really good quarterback. Phenomenal.
Which RG3 too, credit, he was not, blocking on the fact that he got it, whereas Eric Dickerson has been kind of blocking a little bit on the fact that Saquon.
Yeah. Lions go to Santa Clara and win. I'm gonna be honest, the Lions defense is awful. Like it's so bad. They made a couple, like Kirby Joseph, BS, he didn't make the Pro Bowl. That stuff doesn't matter. He's gonna be all pro. He could be defensive player of the year. The guy leads the league in interceptions. Ball hawk. He's he's the highest graded secondary player in the NFL per Pro Football Focus. Dude's a freak. But the Lions have to find a way to generate pressure. They don't.
Yeah, they do, because the problem is their offense is humming, but all it takes is 1 or 2 series where they don't score or they have a turnover.
Yeah,
it's hard to make that up, right? Then you have to take more risks, the risks that I talked about on my podium. So the Lions they don't have to get a ton more, to be honest, out of their defense. They've got to get a little bit more.
Force field goals. Yeah. If you do Michigan State a few years ago, bend but don't break.
Yeah.
But like you said, the offense is hit it. Like Ben Johnson is literally in his bag. He's orchestrating the Philharmonic.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
It's easy. Like the Lions, like Penei Sewell is a shit kicker. That dude is a beast. You have beasts on your offensive line. Sam Laporta blocks. Gibbs is. I think he's.
Amon-Ra blocks.
This dude's gotten even better. That Montgomery's been.
J-Mo's turned into a more precise route runner and catches the ball.
And you get Khalif Raymond back this week.
Reynolds was really great, to spell Montgomery.
Yeah, and then Jamar Jefferson's playing decent. Allen Robinson, a really great catch. Tim Patrick, he does the dirty work. He's very unsung. Mm-hmm. The offense is phenomenal.
Defense just needs to be marginally better, and if the offense keeps playing that way, it's going to be.
If they can keep teams under like 28, they should win.
And here's the thing: is if for some reason the Minnesota keeps its 9 live streak, going, and they luck their way into another win, I'm not afraid of the Lions playing on the road. I wouldn't want to really.
It's hard.
It's Tampa again, but the Lions have won. They went 8-0 on the road this year.
Yeah, the problem is just
they need the bye because they haven't had a bye since week 5.
They need to get healthy. They need to get rested and be ready. And the home field advantage is going to help. We don't want, as well as golf has played this year, we don't want them going to Philly and playing outside. That's not going to be good for anybody.
No.
But thankfully, that's the only cold place that they'd really have to go. Because Tampa's obviously warm. If you had to go to LA, that's indoors. Minnesota's indoors.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But should we do a pick of the? I think the Lions are going to win. I've thought it since they won I think they're going to win. This is destiny. I think if the Lions win this game, I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. If they lose, I think they lose in the wild card round. I really do. But I think they're going to win.
I'm not ready to make that playoff pick yet, but I do think that the Lions win this game. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be what the NFL wanted because they're going to make it be a great game, to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of having to sit around all day, all weekend for an 8:20 game. It's just like I would much rather play at 1, even 4:30. Okay, I get it. But I hate the 8 o'clock games and having to sit around and wait for it all day.
Especially being nervous.
But then it's harder to sleep either way because you're jacked up. I think the Lions are going to win too. I think Minnesota's luck's going to run out a little bit. I mean, look, Minnesota's had a great year. No knock to them. They've got supremely talented wide receivers. And Aaron Jones is a pretty good running back too. Their offensive line is still not very good. Their defense has to blitz all the time to get home, but
their defense feasts off turnovers.
They impact teams.
The Lions are the least turnovers in the league as of now.
So I think if it comes down to it too, the Lions win from the kicking standpoint.
Yeah, I think they're going to win on a last-second field goal, and that stadium roof might come off.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited though. It's a good opportunity.
I agree though. Win and the road to the Super Bowl definitely runs through Detroit, literally and figuratively. Lose, I'm not going to say that they're written off yet, just because they've been so spectacular on the road, and everywhere you go, there's a third to half the stadium is Lions fans.
It's just tough in the playoffs.
It is tougher in the playoffs, but
we're looking forward to it. Black Monday. There'll be some firings Monday for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That we'll talk about. Maybe who do you think's going to get fired? Maybe Doug Pederson. Maybe Steichen from the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Mike McCarthy. That's really all I can think of. You see that Ryan Poles, the Bears GM, is cool off on Ben Johnson because he thinks he tried to get him fired.
Well, you're right, because here's the thing about Ben Johnson. Everybody's saying he's going to take a job, but I think like last year, I'm not going to say he's not going to.
He wants the perfect scenario.
He's not going to go. He's going to go somewhere where he's going to have a situation like the Lions have with Campbell and obviously he'd be the head coach, but with Campbell and their front office. And it's not just Holmes. You got Spielman as a part of that. You got the ownership bought in.
Yeah, Rod Wood, Sheila Ford.
He's smart because how many good coaches and assistant coaches fizzle? Like McDaniel was a great offensive coordinator for Parcells or for Belichick.
Terrible
head coach because he arguably probably wasn't in a very good situation. I think he's one of the smartest head coaches to actually verbalize that. I would hope that they all think about that, but most of them are just probably chasing the head coaching job and the money. I think he's truly thinking about, I want to go somewhere where I can actually build this the way we built it in Detroit, because he knows what the blueprint is.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. All right. How about this? It's golf season already. We got the Century going on as we speak. Scotty Scheffler cut his hand on glass. That sucks. He'll be back in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But we're here. We're doing a new system this year. Got this off of the Smiley Kaufman show. Shout out Smiley. The one and done pick. So you pick one guy per tournament, and you can't use that guy again unless it's a major. But you only pick him once in a major.
Right. So if you were to pick Scotty here, you could pick him in a major, but you can't pick him again in a
correct
moot point.
But we're gonna do we'll do the foursome for the majors like we did last year with Chris.
Yeah, with Chris and Mitch.
That's a fun thing
with our music playlist. That's always fun.
Yep, that's a good tradition that we started last year. But who was your pick? You Gracerman?
Ryan and I sent out each other these picks before it started because we knew we weren't doing the pod till today. I took Max Gracerman. He's 300 today, tied for 20th. I'm looking for your dude. You took
Jake
Knapp, right?
He probably did bad. If he's looking for him. You have Jake Knapp. Thought he would do well because it's a kind of a bomb and gouging.
Great course. He's tied for 33rd, 1 under.
Whatever.
What an amazing golf course.
So pretty. The elevation
14 enough to play there.
Unreal.
The scenery is unreal.
Yeah, and glad Maui can keep hosting that. That's definitely good stuff.
Yeah, these guys eat the course up, but it's fun to watch. Like that last hole on Sunday is really fun to watch. That 600 and some yard par 5 downhill.
Yeah.
Bogey's in the lead so far, -9. Zalatoris -8. Hideki is -8 through 16. Cam Young -7. Colin Morikawa -7. Corey Connors -7.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. This season's going to be really fun. Looking for the Ryder Cups this year, too. Keegan Bradley's rocking a mustache, I saw. People wanted to keep it for what's it called?
Was he going for the rooster
look? Page. Yeah, I guess so. It's good to see golf back on TV, especially in Hawaii. It's fun to watch. Just more good stuff. The TGL starts next week. You gonna watch? Huh?
No, don't care.
I'll check it out to see what it is, but I don't think I'll be a frequent watcher of the show. We don't have any golf. Well, we will have at least one new golf course to rate next year: Tullymore or St. Ives. We never have rated that on this podcast.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mama.
I was looking back at did you look at your Ginn year in review?
No, I did not. I don't want to look at it.
Your
I had a
rewind,
horrible year.
my handicap index went up 2.6 throughout the year, but
Mine went up like
I actually
1,000.
played 2 less rounds this year. I played 28. My average score was 86.6, which was 0.6 higher than last year. Played same amount of different courses, 21, and I had an 80 on 3 different occasions as my low score.
Played 21 different courses. It says I've been a member at Boulder Creek since 2018.
Another thing, yep.
41 scores posted, up 6 from last year. That's 639 total holes. I probably didn't record a few rounds too, so I probably played more than that. My average was down 0.4 from the year before. 27 courses played, same as last year. I was a 15.4, 16.8. Yikes, that's bad. But I was trending in the wrong direction for 2 years. All that stuff, 87 3 times. It's fun.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that they put that together, like your
It's like your
Spotify wrap. Or
how about this?
Amazon wrap.
36% of rounds played on Saturdays, 19% of rounds played in July.
Yeah, my maximum was
Pretty fun.
August.
These are the courses that stood out the most. Boulder Creek 7 times, Quail Ridge 5 times, North Kent 3. Your hardest course, my hardest course was Clearbrook. What? 132 slope. I feel like I played. Oh, I guess I didn't. I stopped keeping the score at the Trent Jones course up north. That would have been the highest.
That was brutal.
That was tough.
Yeah,
the easiest gold tees at Boulder Creek 115.
Yeah, I have that too.
That's fun. That's fun. I like that they do that. That companies do that. A lot of them are starting to do that. It's fun.
Yeah, my high scores were Signature at Treetops 94,
Yeah, that place.
91 at the Masterpiece, 91 at Kaufman.
Yeah,
42% of my rounds on Saturdays, 25% played in August.
Well, you don't really play during the week. I didn't really either this year. All right.
And then mine were Boulder, 6 rounds, Quail 2 rounds, Candlestone 2 rounds. My hardest course was Saskatoon Blue to White because it's white tee 71.6, 120.
I was talking about that with Mike the other day. That talking about the tree tunnel of trees hole. That's the dumbest hole in West Michigan.
Well, and the thing is we found out last year, and I'm not saying we're going to play it all the time. And Chris and I, we were having this conversation, like playing up the tees. So for us, it was the senior tees in our little gold tee challenge. We're not going to do that all the time, but think of the confidence that gives you. Bryson talked about that. There was a TikTok that Chris and I were sharing back and forth. Like when he was a kid, he would challenge himself to shoot like 60 from the reds or whatever, because then you get the confidence to be able to shoot that score. And there's a big difference between going like driver, 8 iron, 9 iron wedge, playing 58 to 6,000 yards versus driver and 4 iron and 5 iron, on the 62 to 6,300. It doesn't seem like much, but it makes a huge difference. And shocking, golf's a little bit more fun when you're playing well.
Yeah, just a little bit. That's all good stuff. All right, we'll be back with more one and done picks next week at the the Sony at YLI with the W.
Yeah, R.I.P. the guy that won
last year. His name, Grayson Murray. All right, let's sprint this puppy home. Best MSU logo: the Gruff Sparty, the Script State, the Michigan State Hockey logo, or other.
You know what? They're all good in their own right. Like I've got the Michigan State Hockey logo hat. Love it. It's actually a good luck charm. Love it on the hockey sweaters. I think just for like a word logo, I like the Script State. That's on the 79 national championship jerseys. Gruff Sparty is probably my favorite. Mom hates that because she does not like Gruff Sparty. I know you like the S, but I like the Gruff Sparty. Second would be the Spartan Head. Far down the list would be the S, probably because that's what it was when I was there. Michigan State does not have any bad logos, though. Even like the 65 logo that I've got on a T-shirt is pretty sweet.
I love all of them. I'll say Gruff Sparty. That's
I've got all of them. I'll tell you that much. There isn't one that I don't have.
Yeah, me too. Who do you think's going to win the Big Ten after 2 full months of basketball has been played? Who's your pick? I know we did like early picks, but now there's a little more.
Yeah, I mean, who's 2-0? UCLA, Michigan, and Michigan State?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I'm going Illinois. Still.
I think Illinois.
They're good.
They're a good team. I don't know that they're the best coached team. But
Yeah, that's their
they're
issue.
a very good team. But I would say Illinois. But I think Michigan State, UCLA, I mean, Michigan plays great offense. They play no defense. I think they all have a decent chance. So,
Yeah. Did Dwayne Stevens show enough to pique your interest after Monday versus Western Michigan? I'm saying no.
I mean, look.
Western's tough.
He plays
Tough
he
job.
plays the same style that Izzo would play, so that would be an easy step in, right? Like he admitted in his press conference, he gets all of what he does. He's a good rebounding team and whatever else. It's hard to say because it's Western, right? You know, they played hard though. You know, it's totally different level of talent. I'm like you. I still think I would want to go a little younger. I'd want to go Donkey Teeth Jr.
Drew
Valentine.
Senior, he's older.
Senior, actually, he's older. I just think a little bit younger, a little bit connected, but a little bit outside. But, you know, maybe we don't have to worry about that for a while.
Yeah, you know, Izzo's recruiting. He's been going to a lot of games, so we'll see. New Year's resolution or resolutions. I'll say mine really quick. Other than, you know, be healthy, you know, eat better. I need to read at least a couple books. I never read. I should read something. Like, it's got to be a sports book, though. It's got to be. Like, I need something that's going to keep me actually wanting to not put the book down. That's my problem. If I start one, I never finish it. I've probably done that with 4 or 5 books in the last 5 years where I've read a quarter of it and then I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I need to do it. I got to read one. I got to find, like, there's a Mike Krzyzewski book somewhere down here that's shorter. Maybe I can read that as a starter.
Telling you, Civil War is a really good book.
Yeah, it looks too thick.
It's a good book. It's Army Navy. It's very
Thick.
No, it's not about the length of the book. It's not like Dr. Seuss. It's whether the content is good.
Well, I'll read that.
Those Rick Riley books too. Missing links and whatever.
Paddle to the Sea.
There you go. That's your only.
I said eat healthy. You know,
I have my very specific list. This one I actually started at the beginning of December because I saw a TikTok that said read a chapter of Luke every day through December. It gets you 24 chapters in Luke, you know, like from the birth to the resurrection, which is really great. So mine is to continue that, which is reading daily, and I'm reading 1 chapter of a book a day out of the Old Testament and 1 New Testament chapter a day as well. So right now I'm in Matthew and I'm in Psalms, and it's fun. I actually read it out loud because the language can be kind of complex. I read it to Captain like I'm a kindergartner, and he likes it, and he's getting religion that way. So that's definitely one. Another one that I know, these are all kind of tied together health-wise. I need to get back to walking daily, 25 minutes maximum. So as soon as this is over, I'm going to go out and brave the cold and go for a walk. Do some core and push-ups daily, which I did do today.
Wow.
I'm going to drink more water.
Yeah, same.
A gallon a day is my goal. That's hard to do, but I am trying it. If I don't, I get migraines, and I like my coffee, so I got to really start to drink that water. I'm trying really hard to fast. Like a lot of people say fast 16 hours a day. I'm trying to fast 12. That's more palatable and realistic for me. Like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Because usually when I get up and I go to work, I have a protein shake on the drive to work, which is a little bit after 7 o'clock. So my general goal is probably 7 to 7. Maybe on the weekends, I may go longer on the weekends. But I'm trying not to eat after 7 o'clock at night is really the key there. With those from a health standpoint, I'm trying to lose 10 to 15 pounds because I put on a few of the 35 pounds I lost. I put like 8 or so of those back. So I want to lose that plus some. I'm trying to putt every day and chip when warm enough. So we've got that true putting mat or whatever that's called. So I'll just sit down there and hit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 footers and work my way back and, you know, try to putt for like 10 minutes and, you know, miss minimally. That's why I'm really good at putting from short distance when Ryan and I play. And then when it warms up, we got a chipping mat. I want to get out on the golf course and practice that a little bit more too. I'm not a big driving range guy. And my last one, maybe a little hard with the podcast, but it's to swear a little bit less and to criticize a little bit less.
Yeah, there you go. That's all good stuff.
In general. So
I'm trying to do the water thing too with like 100 plus ounces.
Gallons. Holy shit, you're going to float away.
Like a camel. Store it.
I'm going to be up all night.
Ounces. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys listening. Shout out to all
Going
of
into
our
year 5 of the pod.
loyal listeners. Give us a 5-star review. Let us
Tell
know
your
what you wanna
friends,
hear.
tell your neighbors.
Yeah, hide your kid. Never mind. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for all of the great stuff, and we're gonna keep doing this until the cows come home. So,
Meantime, as I've been doing for a while now, doing random page opens in my Chicken Soup for the Soul Inside Basketball book. A couple weeks ago, opened up to this chapter called Sitting and Winning, and it caught my attention because it was Hope College women's basketball coach. It was just a short chapter, which is what makes this a great book. You should read it, Ryan. Talking about a player who he had too many players on a national championship team. Only a certain amount could dress him. And a key player for him said, I've thought about it. I've prayed about it. I want to be the person that sits. I think that gives us the best chance to win.
yeah.
And so the chapter's on sitting and winning. So the quote that goes with that at the start of the chapter comes from D.L. Moody. Life is simply a stewardship and not an ownership, a trust and not a gift. With a gift, you may do as you please, but with a trust, you must give an account. Whether it is my talents, my time, my treasure, or the temple of my body, and all of these, I am only a steward.